Thank you for tuning in to another episode on the Scouse Oracle channel. I very much appreciate it. Today I do want to be doing a deep dive into the NHS App changing its login and looking at the architecture behind it, and also discussing the 4 ongoing identity mergers across the UK. If you can hit that subscribe button, I would very much appreciate it. It really does help. Now, the NHS App has begun rolling out the sign in with your government account. That's merging your NHS identity with gov.uk login, the identity used for taxes, benefits and passports. And there's a timeline here because the merge was contracted in December 2024 with BJSS. Now, I do know that there's a lot of talk in regards to Palantir. I want to make it clear, Palantir does not run the NHS App or the One Login, but it does sit inside the large NHS databases, which is why unified identity could matter later on. Right now, though, it doesn't control that. We have back in 2024, BJSS, a UK software engineering company, awarded a contract of 37.5 million to rebuild the NHS App. Now, what is key here, that back in 2024, when this contract was awarded, we have that one line within that contract that says integration with gov.uk login. Can you see where questions can be raised in regards to that? That was back in 2024. So that one line for me was saying that they built the front door to the identity merge. So in 2022, NHS England began the digital front door planning, mentioning a federated login. In December 2024, that contract was awarded. Then January 2025, you've got the contract being publicised and treated as a routine upgrade. Now, fast forward July of this year, we've got the government UK, the press release promoting a revamped NHS app for convenience. Now, what's happening now is the login pages beginning to show sign in with your government account. And within the mainstream media now, and right before pre-budget, and what's being reported is the health department scandal. And no one seems to be explaining this to the general public in regards to how this merge is happening and taking place, and how it was signed back in 2024 with this contract. And now if you look at the pattern here and it's not being implemented, it's not got the debate around it. And I am aware of a debate coming up in regards to the digital ID, but the pattern here is the architecture it's already being built, the infrastructure. So the debate could potentially be about not necessarily not having it, because it's already being built and it's already being rolled out in pieces. And when I say that, I mean in regards to the prison merge, in regards to the veteran merge, in regards to this merge, and then the companies merge on the 18th. And them mergers as well, none of them have got data protection impact assessments. And while we are on that subject, I am waiting now for a response back from the ICO, because I have raised that complaint in regards to the veteran card rollout, that pilot, because that has still got no data protection impact assessment and there's no safety certification there. That was lost in May. And if you've been following me for a while, you'll see where I've discussed all this and where I've shown contracts and the responses that I've been given. And I decided to go ahead and submit the complaint to the ICO before hearing back from the MoD, because I believe that I've got enough evidence to show that there could be a potential breach there. And I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to wait around, because the ICO are also in the meantime rewriting the rules onto how strict they're going to be with data breaches. So why this matters is you've got the health identity being the strongest anchor in any digital system. Once merged with a national login, future cross-department linking becomes easy. So I'm not saying yet that they've merged all this data, but what they have done is they've merged the identity that unlocks it. So they've built the door and they're connecting all these departments to it. And one day they can just flick the switch. And the transparency isn't there. And that is what we will keep requesting and we will keep demanding. Now, with Palantir, there's been a lot of talk with Palantir, so I'm just going to quickly go through some of the companies. We've got Cognizant. So they're a US integration and IT outsourcing firm. They were contracted to merge the NHS England IT systems into the Department of Health. They are the glue layer. So they're connecting systems that used to be separate, making the one login integration easier. So although it's not Palantir, it is another US outsourcing firm. And if you've been following me now for a while on my previous video, you'll hear me talking about the prison merge in terms of the way they're saying and revamping it, and that's why it's needed. Because, you know, in the mainstream media, you've got these escapes. And what should already be happening is basically what they're saying they're changing it to. They already revamped it back 20 years ago when you had your regional people in control and the police station just in control of their data. They sort of did merge it all together and pass that off to an American company, which then it didn't work. And then a Canadian company bought it, and it's with all that data is with the Canadian company, and we are renting that back from them. So we are paying them basically rent money to store our data. That was back in 2003. So back in 2003, before then, Britain ran it all. We ran our own data for the prisons, and I think this is the silent, it's one of them silent things that are happening where it's very, very powerful. You've got all these outside companies who are putting their hands in our data, and with the lack of transparency and with the lack of knowing the risks and with the data protection impact assessments that are out there, things have been heavily redacted. So this is why we will just keep pushing for transparency. We've got Capita, a major UK outsourcing firm. You hear a lot of Capita. They run part of the electronic monitoring tagging system, the call centres, the admin, the IT services across government, often handling identity, metadata and digital footprints. Another one, you've got Motorola Solutions, a global emergency communications and policing tech provider running digital evidence systems and emergency networks used by UK police forces. Now, none of this is being highlighted in the mainstream media. You are having to look for this. This is all public information, and also things that I'm receiving back from freedom of information requests. But the evidence is all here on Find a Tender. And then you've got the gov.uk press release on the 3rd of July where it says managing healthcare easy as online banking with the revamped NHS app. Now, revamped leads you to believe it's just a freshen up. But before the revamp, there would have been basically no front door to be able to flick on a switch and it's all merged. So they haven't yet merged all the data, but they have merged the identity that unlocks it, and they've been able to do this bit by bit. And as always, I'll keep providing you with any updates from any responses that I get back. And in regard to the freedom of information requests, I have received one back on another topic in regards to the enforcement fines when it comes to immigration, and I will share more of that in future videos. So if you do want to hit that subscribe button, it would be very much appreciated.